Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Hello! What is going on? Scallywags, nutmeggers, conversationalists, and most importantly, you haters. It's Reese on the radio, right here live on WTIC News Talk 1080. Another day, another dollar. Wife and I had an interesting morning. I actually had an even much more interesting morning with Garrett here in the sales department. And thank you, Garrett. I mean, Garnett. Why did I say Garrett? Garnett. I've been calling him that all day. Garnett. It shows you how much. It's the first time I ever hung out with him. Garnett. And he and I were talking earlier today about the nightclub scene. I want to talk about that a little bit. I want to ask the question, what happened to the nightclub scene? I think I know. I think I know what happened. You want to know what I think real quick? I'll tell you what happened, what destroyed the nightclub scene. Those violent Negroes.
I was just about to say, people getting shot. You're right. At multiple clubs.
Oh, at multiple. But Garnett was telling me something interesting. He said that there was one run, our sister station, Hot 93 Sim, as I like to say. That's right, JC used to be my old producer. God rest his soul. He used to say that all the time. He said, listen to the way in Connecticut they say Hot 93.7. They go, Hot 93.7.
You talking about Kid Fresh.
Sim. Does Kid Fresh sound like that?
Yeah, he's from Houston.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Yeah. But Garnett was telling me that for 2 years, the club thing was popping.
More than 2. I would say close to 3.5.
Yeah, he was like, the sister station had it popping.
I was a part of that run.
Oh, were you?
Yeah,
okay.
If you can ask him this.
Yeah.
We had the best street team that they've ever had.
Yeah, I think he did attribute that. And what was always, and I guess what was also interesting about that is he said that 2 year, well, he said 2 year. If he was 3, I'm sure it was. But he said that run was so significant and they had so much influence in that scene, in that space. He said, like he told about one story when 50 Cent and the entire G Unit was coming.
Yep.
And that one was huge, right? So, but what was great was their marketing campaign was you couldn't get inside unless you won a ticket on the station.
Yeah.
There were no ticket master, no nothing.
Yep.
It was exclusively to listeners of the station, which is brilliant. A sales department that can come up with that, and you got a venue. Mind you, tell you about how great that is. That concert held 3,000 people in it.
Correct.
So imagine it. That's 3,000 contest winners. You can run that campaign forever.
Mm-hmm. I was a part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So you know this.
Yep. I was there. I recorded all of Tony Yayo's drops the second day out of jail.
Really?
He was right in the studio next to you.
Wow.
Yep.
Tony's one of my favorite people. But anyway, but what he also said was like during that time, they didn't even have to have a headline act. He said the lines were around the corner just to see the station DJs.
Correct.
That's how.
He's not lying.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that's how much of a command they had on that scene, and it just is no more. And of course, he then talked about how it got more violent.
Mm-hmm.
Fights breaking out. Like fights breaking out in a nightclub, that's nothing. I mean, I've been to bar fights plenty of time. But shooting is...
The shooting and the stabbing is what killed it.
Yeah, that's figuratively and literally, apparently. So, but I think that, you can do a smaller and much more sophisticated sort of scene like that where people can dance and it's not so violent.
Yeah, they do have a couple of them. They just don't have a lot.
Yeah.
I know Craig G runs one.
That's right. That's right. In fact, Craig G does a lot of them. But I would love to have just an event where we could do something not so much as nightclubby. You can dance if you want to. Was that the safety dance sign? That's a safety dance line. You could dance if you want to. But you can, sort of just chill, have a good time. Music plays, people talk, drink, revel, be merry, things like that. So, Garnett and I are working on something like that that's coming up real soon. We saw one of our clients today that we're going to get that popping because I love this location. And I'm there a lot lately, and I kind of want to share it with the audience. So you guys will learn about that. In fact, we're trying to do something for Valentine's Day.
Oh. Because
Roseanne and I, our anniversary is on Valentine's Day. So, yeah, I had to do it, man.
Yeah.
I had to do it. She said if it's on Valentine's Day, I won't forget it.
So, well, oh, wow.
Yeah, because she said I'll forget it otherwise. So she's right. She's right. She's right. I would forget.
That's terrible.
I know. I have a lot of things on my plate, man.
That should be one of them.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for reminding me. I'm working on it, Roland, okay?
Okay.
Trying hard. Rub it in a little bit. Anyway, that being said, so I'm hoping that we can do something real soon. Also, don't forget, on the 16th, this Friday, you can also see my betrothed,
9
Roseanne.
days. Oh, wait.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, 9 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 days. We will be at the Between Rounds in Vernon on Hartford Turnpike from 2 to 6. I'll probably be there early. And I think Joey's going there tomorrow to go figure out exactly where we're going to set up.
Yep.
So that the fans will, folks will come in. I hate using that word. I apologize. Supporters and listeners and folks like that will come in, buy some food, and still come in and be a part of the show. Hopefully people will stick around for the entire 4 hours. We'll make it as entertaining as possible. We'll laugh. We'll cry. We'll have a whole blast. And I think Jerry and the folks at Connecticut Food Share got something else that's going on. I'll be able to talk about that when I finish reading this group email that I've been made a part of. And then once I know that, I'll let everybody else know what's going on. Lori Maz just sent something. A scallywag said that she says, I called Governor Lamont's office this morning to complain about him giving money to Planned Parenthood. I ended up talking to some intern. Hopefully he gets the message. Not likely. We'll talk about that very soon, Lori, without a doubt. Yes, and the Smiths, I'm wearing this shirt today. I picked it up out of the suitcase because we haven't unpacked yet. And I said, hey, when's the last time I wore the Smiths shirt? And Roseanne said the last time we were in Texas. And I'm like, oh, okay, and I need to put it on. So I wore it today because I know so many people love that. In fact, I'm seeing more and more people with Smiths shirts than ever before. I'll do the monologue in a minute, but I want to lay down what this is about in the monologue. You may have heard that Connecticut is being sued by the Department of Justice. And the fact that this story is not making headlines in a way that every time William Tong sues the Trump administration does is baffling to me. But what I also find interesting is that the other shoe on this story hasn't dropped yet. I might hint it because I know I may be giving away the goods, like I may be alerting somebody to something very bad that is about to happen. So I don't want to give it away yet. I shouldn't give it away yet. But I do want to talk about this at length today. And I don't want to just talk to the echo chamber. I want to talk to people who are siding with the state on not giving up the voter rolls. And this argument about giving up people's data, giving up people's private or personal information, I find baffling in all of this. So instead of doing the opening monologue, I want to set up the opening monologue with this story. So Roseanne and I started our relationship in Northern Virginia, just about 30 minutes south of D.C. It's a town called Woodbridge. And while we were there, she and I, even before we met, frequented a supermarket that we currently have right here in the state of Connecticut. However, you have to travel quite a ways from the Hartford area to get to it. It is called Wegmans. Are you familiar, Roland? Okay, get on the mic. Get on the mic then. You will love this story then. Now, I heard your enthusiasm. The rest of you didn't. You know Wegmans well.
Yes. Every year,
I
compete in a bowling tournament in Rochester, New York.
Okay.
And we always go to Wegmans to eat.
Okay. Now, when you say you go to Wegmans to eat, are you talking about the restaurant that some establishments still have, or do you just grab food there?
No, there's a pizza and wing place inside there.
That's right.
There's a buffet place inside there.
That's right.
There's a sub sandwich place inside there.
That's
there's
right.
There's a bakery that makes the
cakes and everything.
Milk chocolate chip cookies that are just to die for.
Right. So when somebody in AA actually has, well, at least in Northern Virginia, when they have an anniversary, like 3 years sober, 2 years sober, we go to Wegmans and we get them a cake, which they designed for us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and the cakes are great. Every one of the cakes they make there is fantastic. Huge fan of Wegmans. So the story that I'm about to tell you is not to bash them. However, it is a cautionary tale. Now think about it. Wegmans is here in Connecticut. You have to travel all the way south. I think it's New Haven is where their location is. I think that's where the closest one is.
Oh, I didn't realize we had one in Connecticut.
Yeah, we do. And in fact, it was the first grocery store Roseanne looked up when we moved here. She said, do they have a Wegmans? And I looked and I said, yeah, honey, but it's about an hour away. She was like, damn. So she thought about it. The only reason why she had a problem with it because, like, in the summertime, if we have to drive back and, like, we have perishables or, like ice cream or anything like that, she didn't want to have to travel all the way down there. And also she says, Reese, there's no way Reese is going to drive all the way down there to go grocery shopping. I might, because I really like Wegmans.
Now that I know that we have one, I didn't know. I did not know. I might drive
You
there.
might, right? Because, again, and this is exactly my point. You hear Roland. This is a place that you are willing to travel for. Many of you know that. If you've ever been to one, if you lived anywhere else out of state, or if you've been around one, you know that place is great. And the reason why I love Wegmans is because it's not as hoity-toity as like a Whole Foods or a Central Market, as it were. Because sometimes they have items that I would have never ever purchased. It took me a long time to figure out how to spell quinoa before I even knew what it was, okay? It's just really, really like extravagant stuff. And you see the people there, and they're clearly like, these people I would never, ever have like a glass of water with, much less shop with. Nothing against them. It wasn't my brow. It's too highbrow for me. Wegmans, perfect. Get all that crazy stuff, and it still feels like a regular place. Plus, it's got, as you mentioned it, restaurants, pizzerias, the whole thing. It's like, it's crazy. It's the only place where you could get, like, regular cheese and Gouda. Like, it doesn't matter. Everything's there. Wegmans just announced the day before yesterday that they will be collecting biometrics from every person who walks in their doors.
Ooh.
Everything from face recognition, voice recognition. Yeah, retina scans.
No way.
I'm not kidding. It was one of the biggest stories in Rochester. Thank you, Larry. It's in Norwalk, Connecticut.
It's in Norwalk. Okay,
Norwalk.
Cool.
They are going to be getting all of your biometrics. Now, it began many years ago as a pilot program. And now it is going to be company-wide. That when you walk in, Wegmans is going to gather your data. And they say it's for anti-theft reasons. But people are not happy.
I mean, well, to that, if to that point, I do understand not getting biometrics from people, but doing something because of theft, because they do. A lot of people do steal out of there.
I mean, of course. I mean, that's the kind of place that, you don't steal from a C-Mart. You steal from a place like this. This is high-end, and resale value is probably very high.
Crazy.
Yeah, for that. So I get it. However, people are like,
man, that you just made me, you just ruined my trip for this year.
It's exactly what I said. It's like, it's one of those, it's a juggling act, because you got to say, I love this place, but I don't know if I'm cool with them having my data. What made it worse, because I thought that was the worst part about it, Roland, what made it worse was that they have not disclosed what they do with said information.
Wow.
So I'm going to myself, if Wegmans gathers all that information, who's to say that somebody in the office doesn't get a phone call from another organization that says, hey, is there any way that you'd be willing to sell said data?
Exactly.
And that data, again, because remember, when you're walking into a Wegmans now and your biometrics are in there, they're going to be checking you going in and checking you going out. They're more than likely going to be checking you inside the aisles. And they're going to know if Roland likes Gouda cheese or government cheese, They're going to know, hey, does he comes here every week, or he's here every third Friday, or, whatever the case is, what are his usual, that data, all of that information. Who doesn't sell that stuff? Facebook does. What's the other kind? Instagram does. All of them sell that stuff. Even our cell phone companies sell that data to somebody, or to the highest bidder, or the person who's willing to, in other words, accumulate the most, and then use that to sell you something. Rama says Wegmans is going to drop coin on invasive technology to fight theft. Whatever happened to just hiring a loss prevention person?
There you go.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
I'm sure our AI is involved in this some kind of way.
Totally. Lori says, I love Wegmans. First time I visited Rochester area, and then in Malvern, Pennsylvania. So, again, this is a really, really popular, well-loved company that is now saying, we are going to grab your biometrics, and no one in government has even spoken up about it.
It sounds like that. What's the show that was on CBS when they had Jim Caviezel or whatever? And they had the
person of interest. I love that show.
That's what it sounds like.
That's exactly what it sounds like. So I only bring up this story because, again, I hear no one talking about it. Customers are saying, I may not go there, because collecting that kind of data is personal. But no one so far as public officials are concerned, have spoken up and says, we think this is a violation of the public trust. Now, one person has spoken up.
So why not?
Well, that's interesting, because that is what leads me into my opening monologue when we come back about why Connecticut is being sued by the federal government. So stand by. More news, more views, and more on this story when we return on Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Hey, we're back. Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. If you're just joining us, we were talking about Wegmans, the grocery store. There's one in Norwalk, and thank you so much for clearing that up for me, Larry, in the chat room. And you can join us on the chat room by going to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. Join us on YouTube or join us on X. So Wegmans is doing biometrics on its customers when they walk in to the stores. And I'm almost certain you will be surveilled the entire time. Now, I find this weird because Wegmans doesn't already have information on you, so they'll be gathering it as you go in, right? So every time you eventually become, short Italian guy, and you will then be sort of, progress to Luigi. Just saying. I'm sure something like that will come to, but the fact that they will be grabbing all of that stuff is giving some people some pause. But no public officials as of yet. The story came out 2 days ago. And I found this out as I was filling in for our sister station in Buffalo, WBEN. And the producer there, Jimmy, and I were talking about it. We were just like, wow. And again, Jimmy had the same reaction Roland just did. I love that place. Guys, girls alike, everybody, like guys I know who don't really do shopping like Wegmans because there's so much there. And the food there is great. Anyway. But no public official has come out and said anything about, I don't know, I'm a little squeamish about whether or not a grocery store should have all of your data. Another thing Roland and I were talking about after when we got off the air was, let's say that this is a successful program by Wegmans. Because the customers know that everything that they're doing is being watched, their voices are being monitored. That is going to be stored. And the effort to keep theft down literally turns to 0%. What does Wegmans do with the information? Because remember, they have a system in place. It's always there. And after a while, it's got to pay for itself in some way. Wegmans doesn't have a choice other than to sell the info. It just does. Someone will approach them and say, hey, you know, this information could be useful to our company. It could even be a company inside the company. Let's say Hostess Cakes wants to find out how many people buy Hostess Cakes. That information would be incredibly valuable to them. Doritos the same way. It doesn't matter who it is. That company could come in, every one of them can come in and say, hey, we need to know who's buying our products so that we can then sell them more. The reason why I bring that up is because Lori said something interesting. She says, if you use any search engine and speak about something, have you noticed a huge uptick on that topic, the item popping up on your phone, Facebook, and et cetera, et cetera? Let me give you this story. It was crazy. I was on a podcast in California, and I was on my phone calling into the show, and we were making fun of this woman who was always in the chat room, and she had called up for the first time. No one ever heard her voice before. And when they heard her, she had a very raspy Harvey Firestein voice. She talked like this. She was like, I'm finally on the air, boys. I'm so happy to talk to you. So I immediately said, oh, my God. I would have never guessed your voice was so harsh. You sound like you smoke like a box of Pall Mall no filters every day of your life. Well, one day I'm sitting around the house and on my Gmail account, not my Gmail account, my Yahoo account, all of a sudden I get this ad for Pall Mall no filters in my email. It was the wildest thing. It never happened before, but all I did was mention. Now, who gets an email for cigarettes? But because and specifically Pall Mall, no filters. Showed up on my phone. I was like, oh, that's weird. I was absolutely sketched after that. Now, back to the reason why I bring it up. Connecticut is sued by the Department of Justice. And Connecticut is going to fight back. What does the Department of Justice want? Well, you probably already heard. Connecticut is being sued for refusing to hand over to the Trump administration the voter rolls. People who have been voting or who are eligible to vote in the state. The DOJ is suing Connecticut for not providing full, unredacted voter registration lists, including sensitive personal data like full names, birth dates, addresses, and driver's licenses, and partial Social Security numbers. This is portrayed as a transparency measure for election security, but critics see it as overreach on privacy. See? This was announced on January 6th of 2026, yesterday. Connecticut is the 23rd state, plus Washington, D.C., to face such a lawsuit, with Arizona, who was also sued yesterday. The DOJ is targeted mostly Democrat-led states, but also some others, including recent actions against Illinois, Wisconsin, Colorado, Hawaii, Massachusetts, and Nevada. The DOJ is requesting complete statewide voter registration database for inspection, reproduction, and copying. This goes beyond public versions, which often redact to protect privacy. They filed it in a U.S. District Court against the Connecticut Secretary of State, Stephanie Thomas, in her official capacity. The Trump administration has demanded similar data in at least 40 states since spring of last year, escalating to lawsuits when they refused. This includes unredacted files to purportedly verify compliance with federal voter roll and maintenance laws. Secretary of State Stephanie Thomas, defended by none other than Attorney General William Tong, emphasized compliance with federal law while prioritizing voter privacy. The election officials have sued states mostly Democrat-led and legal experts and advocacy groups like the Brennan Center for Justice, which highlight the privacy risks should the DOJ be giving these lists. Now, that's crazy because the DOJ should have every right to this information. But this part is my favorite. William Tong, when asked about this lawsuit, said, quote, "We tried to work cooperatively with DOJ to understand the basis for their requests for our voters' sensitive personal information. Rather than communicating productively with us, they rushed to sue," he said. William Tong is complaining that the DOJ rushed to sue. The state of Connecticut complies with federal law, and we will vigorously defend the state against this meritless and deeply disappointing lawsuit. Now, by the way, if you don't know this, let me tell you a little bit of sort of behind the scenes in the use of a particular word. William Tong is an attorney. Whenever you hear an attorney use the word disappointing lawsuit, to be said like a parent talking to their child, right? This is very disappointing. It means they're going to lose, and Tong knows it. He is setting up the loss. Oh, it's going to, when I say the state's going to lose, oh, they are going to lose. This is nothing more than like a stopgap to the federal government getting what they want. And what do they want? It is real simple. They want to make sure that the people who are on the voter rolls are indeed on the voter rolls. And they've already seen the data that proves that the voter rolls are bull. Why? Because we had Linda Sinkowitz on the program. And she provided the data. And I told you a couple of weeks ago that I had an inside baseball sort of connection where I knew that all of the information that was going to come out of this was absolutely true, folks, that the voter rolls in the state of Connecticut were bull, that there was widespread corruption in the voter rolls in Connecticut. And Stephanie and William both know it. They have been given the data. They have seen the data, and they know it's true. They know it's 100% true. And this couldn't happen at a worse time for the state of Connecticut, because Governor Lamont, in their view, must win. And as I told you folks before, that a lot of people poo-pooed and dismissed it, you can't go from $18 million in your first campaign to $25 to $28 million in your second campaign and then keep telling me the state is deep blue and keeps getting bluer. You're going to sit up here and tell me that adjusted for inflation, that Governor Lamont had to go from $18 million to almost $28 in 4 years' time? that it became more expensive. Again, doesn't make sense. And Stefanowski loses by 174,000 votes. Doesn't make sense, folks. Never has, never will. And it's just basic stuff, folks. This stuff is basic. And that's why they're being sued. So as Linda expressed when she was on the show a couple of weeks ago, I may even call her to call in today. But as she expressed right here, she says, there's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. And here you go. Shoe number 1. Let's hope it's not a centipede. That's all I'm saying. Shoe number 1. Lori says, yes, hope DOJ exposes them on national television. Karen says, I always watch you on my phone. One day you were talking about Jameson's whiskey, and guess what I kept getting ads on for Facebook? I promise, that used to be my drink. I'm so sorry, Karen. I hope you're not drinking now, Karen. I apologize. When we come back, hey, Ken, stay on the line. We'll get to you in a second. Stand by. We'll talk more about this. And, of course, if you wish to opine in the chat room, go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com, go to YouTube, or go to X, or you can call up here at 860-522-WTIC. That's 860-522-9842. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
That didn't take long. Here we are, back. It's Reese on the Radio. As you heard the big voice just say that, we're going to talk about what's going on in Minneapolis. We do understand, as you heard from Dave Mager, that a woman has been shot and killed by ICE agents. I just watched the video a little while ago, and I'm going to save what I'm going to say for later. I'll save it. Yeah, we'll save it. And let's just put it this way, and not for the sake of being controversial, it will be. Okay? It just will be. A lot of people have blood in their hands, and we'll go so far as to say that they do in this woman's death. In the video I just saw, it's messed up that it had to happen. Of course, you wish it didn't, but it has. But there's something to be said about that. So if you want to check it out, it's online. Let me go to Ken, who's in Tallinn. Hello, Ken. How are you? Oh, my bad, Ken. There you go. How are you, sir?
You know, you just mentioned what I was going to call you about.
Yeah.
Everybody watch on YouTube, Status Coup, C-O-U-P, and watch. There's a half an hour on there. Watch what these 2,000 ICE agents are doing in Minneapolis. Shooting people point blank in the face with pepper spray, murdering a woman that's a U.S. citizen, apparently. It's something's wrong with this. And I can't believe that anybody that doesn't think that there's something wrong with them.
Okay, well, let's take your premise, because I understand where you're coming from. So the ICE agents are spraying people with pepper spray in the face, and
shooting them with a gun in the face, 3 feet away.
Shot who in the face with a gun? You mean the woman who was in the car?
People they murdered her.
Okay, who else did they shoot?
Protesting. Now wait.
No, I'm sorry. With all due respect, I'm not trying to cut you off. You're talking in circles. You're going from one place to another place, and then you're not clarifying. So I'm going to start over again so I can understand what you're saying. Are you telling me that ICE agents are shooting people in the face with guns?
You didn't listen to me.
Well, that's why I'm clarifying with the question.
Every time, just like you're doing now.
Ken, I asked you a question, Ken, that you cannot answer. Are you saying that ICE agents are shooting people in the face? Yes or no?
I think people listen to you sometimes to see the stupid, ignorant things you say. What I said a minute ago, they're 3 feet away, shooting them in the face with a pepper spray gun. That's what I said.
Okay, and then you said they shot a woman and killed her. Okay, good. I asked you to clarify. Thank you for clarifying. So let's start with start with the pepper spray. Okay? Yeah. All right. So they're shooting people with pepper spray in their face. My response to that is, so what?
So what?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting for you to get outraged now. Go on. Get outraged. I said, so what?
I'm not outraged. I'm just disappointed that there's people like you with their biased attitudes and think everything's okay with what's going on in this country and the world. We're going to take Greenland over.
Are they law enforcement or not, sir?
Who the hell knows who they are? They have masks covering their face. They have no badges. Watch that thing, Status Coup. Everyone on YouTube.
Yeah, okay. I know you're promoting it, but again, I mean, so what? They're shooting people with pepper spray who are confronting them to their face and they're being aggressive, spitting on them. And we've seen, Ken, I was quiet while you spoke. Ken, do you have no interest in, do you not want to have a dialogue? Ken, you do not want to have a dialogue, right?
What?
You don't want to have a dialogue, right? You just want to talk over me?
You're the one that keeps talking over me, and as a matter of fact, about 6 months ago...
Somebody's obviously very, very upset. Okay, so let's start here. Because, again, I'll talk about it in about a half an hour after we get through headlines, maybe even less than that. I don't care that there are people who are getting in the faces of law enforcement as they are performing their duties that they have sworn to do, their job that they get paid for. And as people aggressively attack them or jump in front of them and impede their job, that they only spray them with pepper spray while individuals climb up on roofs and shoot at them, as people vandalize their facilities, throw rocks and stones at their vehicles as they save children from work trafficking, labor trafficking. These people throw stones as they drive away that could create a considerable deal of harm to the agents as well as the people that they are trying to get out of the country. Those people don't seem to have a care about the lives that they may be impacting with their actions. And being called a Gestapo by our public officials doesn't help or keep them safe either. And if you're telling me that the response is they get sprayed in the face with pepper spray, is something I'm supposed to be outraged, but you don't have one bit of outrage for the violence that's being committed on federal agents, many of them Latino, the ones that you're supposed to be smarter and better than, that you care so much about. Nobody's trying to hear that, man. So again, if you were shocked by it before, let me do it again. So what? So what? Pepper spray? These people are fighting to keep themselves alive. They're being targeted by gang members, putting hits on their heads. Nobody cares about pepper spray to the face. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Let's get to the newsroom.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
So I've been checking out some of the footage, apparently, and thankfully there are several angles of the shooting that took place. The local news has been airing them in Minneapolis. And may I say, to be quite frank, ICE was justified. Go watch the video before you get all uptight. Go watch the video before you get all uptight. Look, lawlessness is over. And if I can, I want to try to convey this to people like Ken. When they have their little cheerleaders and people screaming in the background when they call, and they seem what's like so, in some sort of weird way, like stunned. And I told you guys this before. The reason why they're so shocked at the response that I give them is because they become very comfortable with people sort of acquiescing to the nonsense that they've heard over and over. What do you mean, so what? That's because people have been so easy to capitulate. Yes, I get what you're saying. It's very sensitive. I understand. I go, no. No, I'm standing on my two. Screw that. Don't like it? So what? Cry. Go. Here, tissue. Take some. They don't know how to do that. So, Ken, this is for you. The lawlessness is over. The bullying tactics, the nonsense, the stealing, the theft, the lying, all of it, done, over with. We're not standing for it anymore. And we don't want to hear any more nonsense about what you're outraged about. We don't want to hear any more about, what you think is going on because you heard it from the latest expert on a failing network or a failing newspaper. That's agenda-driven. You don't care about the facts. You don't care about us. You don't care about your neighbors. Okay? You're the type of folks, in that we know that's who you are. You would let these thieves, these crooks, and these damn animals, you would let every one of them steal and pillage from you just so you can feel better about yourself, because that's what it's all about. You're looking for an opportunity to break your arm while you're patting yourself on your back because you can't stop celebrating how fantastic you are. You're all about that. Look at me, I'm moral. Look at me, I'm noble. Look at me, I care. I'm so sensitive to all the needs of the world, especially those little people. Get off the cross. We need the nails. The rest of us are out here trying to do hard work. Nobody cares that you're outraged. Your outrage means nothing. It's nothing. You're professional complainers. That's what you are. Make it a gig. You should at least getting paid. The fact that you complain for free baffles me. But I know why you're not, because you hate capitalism. Lord knows nobody wants to complain and profit from it, which is why you do it for free. And I'm sure it makes you feel awfully good about yourself, because the only currency you need is somebody patting you on the butt and telling you, good job. I can't remember the name of that movie. You probably remember it, Roland. The movie with J.K. Simmons, where he is the drumming instructor at that very, very popular school. Not Drumline, but Miles Teller is in it. And he tells him the two worst words you can tell a person is good job. I love that movie. Couldn't describe. I'm going to find the clip. But that's what these people want. That's what they need. They need to be told that they're doing a good job. I'm doing such a good job. Yes, yes. Whiplash, that's it. Thank you. Miles Teller how to play the drums. Yes, whiplash. There's a monologue in it. He says the worst two words you can tell a man is good job. That's what these people are doing. All the nonsense, all the screaming and hollering and complaining. They all want to be told, good job. They advance nothing. You advance nothing, not even the conversation. You're just whining. Nobody wants to hear that. You're like a screaming kid on an airplane. Someone put a bottle in that child's mouth. Whatever you do, could someone please shut that kid up? Give it a baba, give it a toy, give it something. Shut it up. That's what you sound like to the rest of us. You're annoying. So don't come over here crying. Nobody cares. You're not advancing anything. Where's my remote? I forgot where my remote is. I put it somewhere. I probably threw it. So damn outraged. Let's get to the news. West Hartford is seeing several businesses developments seeing several business developments as of January 5th, 2026, including the upcoming opening of Sweet Fluence, a hot vinyasa yoga studio with infrared heat targeting an early summer launch near the center. Owners plan to offer classes to ages 16 and up with employment opportunities for staff and ambitions for statewide and national expansion. Other spots like Maz and Company and I'm assuming this is Charcuterie are nearing openings in late January and early February after build-outs. Meanwhile, closures in the area include Barnes & Noble's near West Farms, with the space being subdivided for new tenants like Hanush Jewelers and Goldfish Swim School. Effie's Place Family Restaurant, right? Effie's Place Family Restaurant has added an EV charger to the parking lot, I would assume, a unique feature among local eateries, while Warehouse 365 has temporarily shut down. These changes reflect dynamic local economy with a mix of growth and transitions in retail and services. A young lady by the name of Madison Cunley, a graduating senior in communications at Connecticut University, highlights the broken state of the job market as she approaches graduation this year. Despite following all traditional advice like building a portfolio and securing internships, she shares stories of peers who applied to hundreds of jobs, remained unemployed, or took unrelated roles, pointing to an oversaturated field with slow growth projected by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. What is wrong with me today? Entry-level positions often demand years of experience, exacerbating frustrations for new graduates. I talked about this yesterday. I'm telling you, it's an in-person problem that needs to be fixed. In Connecticut, where many households face financial constraints, systemic issues like prolonged hiring process, prolonged hiring process, unpaid internships hinder access. Cunley calls for reforms, including accurate job labeling, college employer pipelines, paid internships, and shorter hiring timelines to support local talent retention. Her piece emphasizes the need for structural changes that give graduates a fair shot in building careers in the state. See, people are agreeing with me. I know nothing about that article, and I'm telling you. There you go. Connecticut's Department of Transportation anticipates over 200 construction projects in 2026, building on 2025 achievements like an award-winning bridge rebuild. Key initiatives include Phase 2 of the I-91, I-691 Route 15 interchange in Meriden for safety and congestion relief, set for completion by 2030. Expect traffic to be a mess there. And the Dutch Point Viaduct rehabilitation in Hartford, finishing in September of this year with upgrades to deck, drainage, and load capacity. Other ongoing work covers I-95 improvements in the East Lyme and West Haven. A major $600 million contract for the Gold Star Memorial Bridge between New London and Groton starts this year, spanning several years. All projects emphasize safety with speed cameras, in-work zones, and online maps for alerts. These efforts aim to enhance infrastructure statewide through drivers, though drivers should expect disruptions during those constructions. And now for the stupidest thing I read today.
Very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
It's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat.
Purdue University in Indiana was the scene of an inexplicable incident where a man slathered from head to toe in peanut butter roamed the campus grounds, alarming students and faculty alike. The sticky spectacle raised immediate concerns over peanut allergies. That was what they were concerned about. The first thing they thought about were peanut allergies, prompting a swift response from campus security, and I'm sure the CDC. Police were investigating whether the man, believed to be a student, was part of a fraternity hazing ritual gone awry. Witnesses described the man calmly strolling paths and buildings, leaving trails of peanut butter in his wake before he was apprehended without incident. No injuries were reported, no allergies either. But the event disrupted classes and led to a temporary lockdown in the affected areas. University officials have condemned such pranks, emphasizing the potential health risks in a diverse community, folks. This absurd episode has become fodder for social media memes. You think? Blending humor with warnings about reckless behavior. As the investigation continues, it underscores the wild side of college life where youthful antics can cross into dangerous. This is dangerous? Leaving everyone questioning the motive behind such a, wait for it, nutty escapade. You could. Jason says, what the blank is wrong with people? That's actually funny. Because you could, I mean, there's a likelihood that people did not believe it was peanut butter, if you get my meaning. You know? Think Caddyshack and the Payday candy bar. You know what I mean? Just, people could have thought of other things. I know that's what a lot of you were thinking. What's going on, Tom? How are you?
Oh, Reese, hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Hey,
What's up?
Before I make my comment, pepper spray is an eye and nose irritant.
Yes.
Thus, it should be sprayed in the face, correct?
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah, so I don't get that. Man, I wish, I know you're not a violent man, but I wish you could take a real hardcover dictionary and go into the TIC newsroom and stack it up.
No violence, no violence, no violence. Don't do that. Yet, listen,
there was no invasion today. Look up the definition of invasion.
Well, are you talking about the Minnesota raid?
No, the TIC guy just at the top of the hour said the invasion in Venezuela.
Venezuela. I mean, I don't understand. Well, I will put it this way. I didn't hear that. I wasn't listening. I was doing stuff. Okay, is it technically? Let me put it this way. Here's the best way that I can describe this. Okay, guys, got to stop being bent out of shape about the newsroom. You have to.
The dictionary. And invasion says it's an act of invading. Invading is to enter or conquer or plunder. Now, yes, we did enter,
right,
but we didn't conquer or plunder. To spread or permeate.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Wait. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was trying to put another call on hold. I apologize. Listen, here's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, it's nothing to moan about. This show is where the content is. It's just the newsroom. It's not that big.
Yeah,
of a deal.
I know.
It's not that big.
You in the middle.
Yes.
Maybe on your next teleconferencing with one of the old man Ceros and one of the son, maybe you could, ask him to, hey, get a moderate newscaster in.
Why don't we look at it this way? Here's a way to look at it, right? There are going to be several places that are going to say that it is this, that, or that thing. And there are also going to be other places that are going to call it another. It's not that big of a deal. That's why I don't even discuss it on my show anymore. Because it's almost asking me in some way. I'll put it to you this way. Here's the best way to put it. Are they paying attention to my show or are they paying attention to the top of the hour news? That means I'm not doing my job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I sometimes turn at the top of the hour. Hey, Reese, the main reason I called today, I listened to a little of Representative Gill from Texas.
I've got that audio.
Yeah. Is it possible? Now, today he didn't have that real curl that he has, but he's got a thick head of hair, black hair. He's got that curl in the front. Could Congressman just be his day job and he is, in fact, Superman? Possibility?
That kid could totally pass for I guess, the current version of Clark Kent. He's got that look. But I will tell you, there was a part of me that was angry and also kind of happy that he went first, because I wasn't going to get to, like, if he had been later after everyone else had gone and, sort of screamed and hollered about a whole bunch of dumb things that don't matter, and then he had come on and did his piece, which I'm going to play in the next half, then I would have been much more satisfied. But the worst part about it is I would have never seen it live. So I watched it live when it happened, and my wife and I were literally here cheering the guy. And she goes, "Who's this guy?" I go, "That's Brandon Gill. You got to watch this guy. Go watch his videos because they are all amazing."
Yeah, he is so good. He's so good.
He's absolutely fantastic. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
All right.
You got it. Let's go to Dudley. Hello, Dudley in Columbia.
Hi, Reese. Hey, was that creamy or was that crunchy peanut butter?
That's what I was wondering.
It makes a difference,
It does to the sandwich, I say.
It really does. So anyway, the reason I'm calling is I caught the tail end of Ken there. He was whining about pepper spray or something.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, find out where he lives. I'll come over tonight for dinner. If the door's not open, I'll just smash the window. And
right.
Is it something I like, or I'm going to go through the refrigerator?
It doesn't. It is exactly right. It's like it's this ridiculous, weird outrage about stuff that makes no sense. So you have an uptick in violence against ICE agents to the tune of 1,000%. These guys have got bounties on their head while they're trying to do their job. The recruitment is going in because the pay is well and they know they're doing their constitutional duty. And you have these people running around who are doing everything they can to, if not thwart what they're trying to do, but they're also attacking them at the same time and thinking that these guys shouldn't respond.
It's almost like part of this whole fourth turning thing. It's like that they're men child. You know what I mean? They never really did anything. They never fought for any of their rights. They've never been denied anything in life, so they don't value it. You know what I'm saying? Like send the guy to Iran right now, where they're having protests to be able to be free, or even to Venezuela. See how long he lasts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm asking these people whether or not they really want to give their lives for this cause. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But anyway, nice talking to you.
Thank you, man. Much appreciated. Yeah, I don't think these people want to give their lives. I don't think they want to give their lives. But you know what? I will say this, right? I will say to the left on the incident that happened with the ICE agent who shot this protester, 37-year-old woman. I want to say that I'm going to give it about as much attention as you did to Ashley Babbitt. And we'll just leave it there. That's my concern level will match yours as it pertains to Ashley Babbitt. So whatever you gave to her, I will give to this protester who was shot and killed. And you just meet me there. Other than that, I got nothing else to say to you. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
Listen, I want to make sure that people understand where I'm coming from on this deal, because this story has got legs. Somebody died, and it involves federal agents who were out in Minneapolis picking up people who are illegal in the country, and they're also out there investigating billions of dollars of fraud. And American citizens, protesters, paid protesters, many of them, activists, if you will, are putting their lives in harm's way dealing with federal agents with guns. And they are threatening. They are attacking. They are fighting. If they grab one protester who refuses to move, other protesters will then aid and abet the person that ICE is trying to remove by attacking the other ICE agents to get them off of the person that they apprehend, who is impeding their job. So this becomes a violent situation. And the police officers then have to defend themselves. Imagine this under any other scenario. Let's say it's the cops in New York City. You don't respect a cop with a gun. And by the way, if I can just remind a couple of you folks a few years ago, and hell, as recent as what? Yesterday. You believe that the cops will find any reason they can to shoot you because they're mean, evil, and vicious. Remember, defund the police. They're only here as an apparatus to murder people. They're a bunch of killers. They're not even human. Well, what do you think the federal version of that is? Those guys are subhuman. And you have elected officials calling them the Gestapo, Nazis, even the secret police, whatever it is that's been called. And you have given these folks license to go after ICE agents, men with guns. Oh, by the way, these bozos are showing up without them, as if to say, hey, I don't care that you got a gun. What you going to do with it? Shoot me right here with all these cameras rolling? You want another George Floyd on your hands? Police officers know that their careers and their lives are pretty much, at that point, up for grabs. Their careers, their livelihood, they may not be supported. It could be the end for them. They have to go into isolation, change their name, remove and uproot their families. And they already have that bounty on their head from gangbangers as well. Remember who these people who hate ICE agents are now aligned with. I hate ICE. And on their side, gangbangers and killers. That's who they've aligned themselves with. Politicians, too. You don't hear them speaking up saying, hey, we don't like ICE, but Tren de Aragua, don't put bounties on their head. Hey, Latin Kings, don't put bounties on their head. We just don't like them, but we don't want bounties on their head. You ever heard anybody say that? No, you have not. And you won't. Nobody wants to hear from you. Nobody's trying to find your moral high ground. You don't have one. You people are lower than pregnant roaches. That's who you are. You know that you are. Okay? Just so we understand each other. Now, let's get back to the point. When Ashley Babbitt was shot and killed 5 years ago yesterday, do you know what you folks said? Shouldn't have been there. She shouldn't have been there. She was there. Capitol Police is there. They got guns. They got to protect themselves. Shouldn't have been there. That's what happens when you're there. She climbed through the window. She put herself in harm's way. That's on her. Ditto. Now come crying. Now come. Call my bosses. Send letters. Email whoever you got. Protest. Protest. I'm going to give this individual the same respect you gave Ashley Babbitt. And I've never said a word about that woman. Never. You've never heard me once say anything for or against Ashley Babbitt and her death. Murder. Her death. Never once. Other than the fact that a police officer who killed her. That individual. Now, if you get that in the case with this ICE agent, which, by the way, go see the tape. There are several angles. You can go view them right now. Go view them online. They're even on the local news channel because they have them. They grabbed all of them. Why? Because they were looking for a reason to say, see, ICE murderers. They're getting every angle they can. And so, guess what? It turns out they even were reporting, by the way, this is actually funny. So there were two officers who were right by the driver's side door of the vehicle, and there were reports that were going out that said they walked up to the door, couldn't get it open, and they shot her through the driver's side door. Lies, because now we have the photographs, and the bullet holes go through the windshield. And why would they go in through the windshield? Someone have to be standing there unless somebody curved their arm. But because the officer that fires the 3 shots, which I've seen, I saw the video, shot 3 times, the car was coming towards him. And there were several angles of that. And what prompted this shooting in the first place? Let me tell you. This wasn't some random person sitting in their car just going, la-da-dee, I'm just coming out of my driveway on the way to Starbucks to go get me a Starbucks. No. This individual was using their vehicle to block ICE agents in their path. And the ICE agents got out of their car and confronted the vehicle, asking the woman to get out of the way. Get out of the car. Get out of the way right now. She refused, put the car in reverse. It's not like she just gunned it. She put it in reverse and then gunned it, which is now using the vehicle as a weapon. And she lost her life. Make all the arguments that you want, but there it is. Okay? It's as simple as that. By the way, Robin Meriden, if you're listening to the program, find another show. You're never going to get your phone call answered here again. Please don't. Please go be popular somewhere else. I hear there's several other news stations. Call NPR. They love you over there. Let's go to Bob in Watertown. Hello, Bob.
How you doing today?
I'm pretty good, sir. And yourself?
Good. I'm going to give you a present. Tylenol for that last caller, not last caller, Rob from Meriden. I think you deserve it to listen to such baloney. But I'm a retired Army colonel.
Okay.
And I'm just going to go over certain things that I do not want to elaborate on. But a lot of things, ICE was not, excuse me, ICE was not Trump's invention. ICE has been around the world under a different label for the last 50 years.
Indeed.
Guatemala, they got rid of 70,000 last year. Now, this is the thing that kills me. When they use that term, non-approval of Congress, right?
Yeah.
And they blame Trump for what he's doing. Look at the record of Obama and Clinton. I just got Obama, Iris, Yemen, Clinton. Everybody knows about Black Hawk Down, but you could see all the things they did without the approval of Congress. But again, Trump got to be the target. Trump invented ICE. I'm not advocating I'm Trump, but Obama. Here's the other thing that's funny. Now, again, I have some intel about covert, but I'll just tell you things. Obama, 2.5 million people deported and thrown out of the country. Mm-hmm. But nobody ever heard that. Did you ever hear about what Obama did?
Well, actually, you know what? I do remember that. And what was interesting about that scandal was that Barack Obama, he was letting a lot of people into the country, but to look like he was deporting people, he was using a very weird tactic at the time. He was calling refusal at the border. Like, in other words, they made it into a detention center like in Arizona, and they never got any further than the border, right? Or they got like the border of Texas, and they'd be in a detention center right at the border. By removing them instantaneously, he was considering that a deportation. So it wasn't like he was going around the country grabbing folks. He was doing that as well, but he was counting the people who crossed the border and then sent back as a deportation, like he was out rounding people up.
Well, that's people, armchair politicians, and not politicians, but armchair pundits. Analysis of all this ICE. It's ridiculous to listen to it. Now, this is the thing, too. Clinton and Obama, people should do the research of what they were involved with non-approval of Congress. Here's another thing that drives me crazy, right? This woman, everybody knew that she was a terrorist, and as well as she shouldn't have been in this country to begin with. But they have to go into all the reasons why she got hurt.
Yeah,
I mean, she got killed. You can't do, number one, cars going by. As a police officer, I can't shoot that tire out, which they used to.
That's right.
Because a bullet might ricochet. That took away that.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about ICE being all over. Now, here's the funny thing. At this time now, I could talk about covert, right?
Yeah, sure.
I think in Venezuela, covert procedures have been going on for the last 20 years. So they make it seem like, oh, this is a new thing that Trump started, covert. The public didn't even know how many people were taken out.
Did you hear, by the way, I don't want to cut you off, but there was something very interesting that I learned last night. Did you hear that there's new information that says that Maduro's vice president was in cahoots with his ousting?
I heard of that, yes.
And I'm thinking that story is about to hold water.
Oh, boy.
And that would imagine what that narrative would do if indeed true that his vice president actually helped Donald Trump or the Trump administration actually get to Maduro to oust him. That changes. Yeah, can you imagine the air that goes out of everybody's sails?
Well, you know what you and I should do? Write Hollywood scripts for what we know. I mean, you'd be brilliant at it. Now, here's the other thing, too.
Yes.
Right? Here's the other thing, too. You're talking about people sit down, watch the 5, hear a snippet on the radio, whether CNN or Fox, and they think they know everything. But, you know, I'm not putting them down, but the facts that are covert, Trump, nobody knows what Trump is doing.
Exactly.
Sure, with the tariffs, it's a strong arm. It's not being the meanie. But, see, Trump is a businessman. He's not a politician.
That's right.
So he's brilliant with the strong arm.
Yeah,
and I'm not advocating my...
I think that's the most important part. I do have to take a break, Bob, but you make a very, very important point. They keep addressing Donald Trump as if he's working as a politician, not understanding that he's working as a businessman and using persuasion and the art of that in order to get what he wants strategically. But he's not doing it alone. He's doing it with people who had wanted to do these things for years and never had a commander-in-chief who would let them loose. That's the thing.
He's going to help Venezuela because they think he's taking it over. No, he's trying to establish a new government so democracy will allow them to vote.
Exactly. And secure the Western Hemisphere, because China and Russia, they were right at our doorstep if they had gotten a hold of that country. Thank you, Bob. I appreciate you, buddy. Let me take a break. We'll come back. We'll grab some more phone calls. I hear the phones. I see the phones. If you guys can wait, I promise you I'll get to them. Stand by. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Hey, we're back. Reese on the radio. If I can, I would like to give a shout out to Sam in Windsor who called up. Did she only call up just to say that? She didn't want to go on the air? Okay. Well, I appreciate you, Sam. Thank you for saying that. And I love the word refreshing. It's not always refreshing for me. I'm just like, I've always had these views. But thank you, Sam. That was very kind of you to call in and say that as well. Roseanne is in the chat room, and she says, I just watched the video. She said the driver's vehicle looks like it hit the officer. Actually, it was very, very close to, but the way the vehicle drove off, it's coming towards the shooting officer. If you watch it again, but go online on X, and everybody is posting. Even I think the Channel 5 local network has an exclusive video from a tree that catches it from the front passenger side angle. And it catches the entire ride even as the vehicle crashes into another car after the shooter is killed. So there's a whole bunch of stuff there. There are so many angles now that are now made public. It shows clearly what happened. And somebody said something about the individual being a terrorist. I don't know who these people are. All I know is that they are obstructing justice. That is one. They are aiding and abetting illegals. That's who they are. They have joined the criminals. That's all I'm saying, folks. They're joining. Come on. I mean, yesterday was January 6th. The last I heard, all of those folks were criminals, and it was okay to say that. These people are thwarting, and I know you can't, right? The Capitol Police, in 2021, those are the good guys. Even though 6 months earlier, the cops are dirty, bad people, and you wanted to defund them, right? Remember, 2020, defund the police. January 6, 2021, the Capitol Police are heroes, right? See how that convenience works, right? And then now ICE agents are removing people, law enforcement bad. So you don't know what side you're on, right? Maduro, evil dictator like Trump. Maduro, victim. He was just pillaging his own country. Sure, he was evil. He was picking up people on the street, and putting them in gulags and starving his friend. But it's his country. He can do whatever he wants. Free Maduro. And hear me out. I know, I'm telling my audience right now, I love my audience. Because you guys, I hear it all the time. You call him, he's like, do you see these people? Can you believe this race? And what do I tell you every time? Chill. I'm here to laugh at all of them. None of these people are serious. And as much as you listen to the show, they listen more. They do. And they come here and they try it every day. You notice that they're here all the time and then they're not here for a while because they know they've got nothing. They come here and they work on their arguments. Okay, I'm going to say this and then you say this. And then we'll double team him. He won't know what to do with himself. Oh, and don't forget, call him an Uncle Tom sellout. Do that at the end. He that'll get him. You're always holding Donald Trump's water. I love it. I'm sorry. I'm having too much fun. We got to get into BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Mark Christopher, he's there. He's getting you home. How we doing out there, Mark?
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
All right, folks, we're going to talk about a little more than this. We'll get to your phone calls. Thank you guys for holding on, and you were very, very patient for doing so, and I really do appreciate that. I want to take this time to also remind you that on the 16th, a Friday, folks, the 16th, at the Between Rounds in Vernon on Hartford Turnpike. Myself, Reese on the radio, Roseanne on the radio, will both be there. We're hanging out with Connecticut Food Share at the Between Rounds there. You can come hang out with us. We'll be there roughly about 6-7 hours. So you could come by, have a bite to eat, come listen to the show, enjoy. You could sort of be our impromptu studio audience. So we'll talk to you and hang out with you. And don't forget to be a part of that. If I can, when we come back, I want to play some audio sound bites from a couple of individuals in Minneapolis. One in particular is Tim Walz and what he had to say in a press conference after the shooting of a woman who charged police with her vehicle. It's an interesting point of view that Tim Walz has. And by the way, if you haven't seen the documentary Fall of Minneapolis, if you have seen it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I reference it. But if you haven't seen it, you should. It is an incredible documentary about the events that took place and as they relate to Derek Chauvin, who is the officer who was charged and convicted of murdering George Floyd, and how Minneapolis handled the riots thereafter, which is, again, why it's so important to talk about what Tim Walz said in a press conference just recently. So we'll play that for you when we come back if you haven't heard it and give you analysis. I'll read this quickly. It says, I don't think that we are well represented by either party. We go from never hearing Biden to hearing Trump every single day. We have an absolutely impotent Congress and a Supreme Court that is driven by political ideology as opposed to the Constitution. Jack, you are not entirely wrong. There's a lot of that I can agree with, and I hear what you're saying. I do. I don't think there's any argument in what you said. I don't think there's any argument at all. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. How we doing, sir?
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Here's Tim Walz, and then I'll get to the phones.
Will not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this. Please stand with Minneapolis.
So Tim Walz is obviously saying that and doing that because, of course, everybody knows what happens when his town riots. And it ain't good. Everybody knows. Especially the police department, which I just heard, and I just watched video, that protesters were smashing the windows of police cars, not ICE cars, police cars, which of course goes to what I just said earlier about defund the police, not liking law enforcement. Police officers had nothing to do with the shooting. They arrived there because someone, a citizen or somebody who's in their jurisdiction, was shot and killed, as police are supposed to do. And they get there, and what are they met with? They're met with rioters and people abusing them and attacking them. Throwing snowballs, I don't really care that much about snowballs. There's nothing. But breaking windows and throwing rocks and attacking police officers that had nothing to do with the events? Nothing to do with the incident? That's exactly my point. It's lawlessness, folks, and you know it. That's who these people are. Remember who they're siding with. So Tim Walz is like, please, I've got enough trouble. I've got a federal probe into whether or not I'll allow billions to come out of this state. I got Somalis who are mad at me that I'm not defending them enough. I got enough trouble, folks. Got the president calling me a retard. I can't do it. Please do not burn the city. Let's go to Gio. He's in Canton. Hello, sir.
Hey, Reese. How are you?
I'm good. What's up?
I had two things I wanted to touch upon. Since we're talking about ICE right now.
Okay.
My question would be, do you think it would be better for ICE to wear cameras like police officers do to create more transparency within the base?
No, but sure. I mean, I don't believe that it would create more transparency, primarily because of I would say this. I don't think that it would make a difference because all the people who are there confronting ICE, as all the protesters are, there are already cameras on them, right? And by the protesters and by the independent news media that is following them as they carry out their duties. So in essence, it would be two sides to the same video. So ICE is always going to be met with these protesters who are filming themselves attacking ICE and then sort of saying that they have the moral authority to behave in the fashion in which they do, which I would just commandeer that as just as a procedural thing. I would say, oh, you have evidence of ICE abusing you? Just give me the video on your phone.
I mean, couldn't you hold that same logic with police officers?
Well, police officers is a jurisdiction thing inside the municipality because not all, like most officers do carry some, those body cams. But that, of course, that is because the state has made that happen. Federal law enforcement having to do that as they're carrying out their duty is just something that people want. I don't think at this particular juncture, no, I don't think it's warranted. Because I'll put it to you this way. Here's what I'm saying. If you're saying for transparency of what?
Had that ICE officer in the unfortunate shooting, whatever was happening, because I've only heard that there was a shooting. I need to do more research on it.
Okay.
I feel like it would be a lot more easier to garner up a conclusion if the agent had a body cam. Therefore, we could see the perspective of that ICE agent and come up with a conclusion better than just waiting for different perspectives on it. When we could see it.
Right, but we do have video on it. In fact, right now, I'm certain that we have about 3 angles on it. Yeah, so, which of course then it just bolsters my claim that every time ICE is there, somebody's filming anyway.
Yeah, but I wouldn't rely on the public to film on federal agents.
Technically, that's the reason why. That's kind of, if you really think about it, Gio, I'm going back to considering the fact that we're back in Minnesota, I would go this way. Derek Chauvin's arrest, Derek Chauvin's conviction, and the fact that Derek Chauvin is in police custody was reliant on a citizen's video that many people have now scrutinized to the level that says that Derek Chauvin was on his neck, when we know that there's another angle of the video based upon its proximity that shows otherwise. By the way, if you haven't seen The Fall of Minneapolis, please go watch it. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Then I wanted to bring up one more thing before I got cut. The Venezuela. I know there's a lot of nuance to it, but I want to go straight to like regime change because that's what I feel is happening in Venezuela.
I have to stop you at regime change. I have to stop you because it doesn't exist. Regime change. Your premise is off because since 2018, Nicolas Maduro was not the legal president or the elected president of Venezuela. So it's not a regime change.
So, but is that our job to go in?
We didn't go. We didn't go to oust him because he wasn't the president of the United States, because he's not, president of Venezuela.
Oh, yeah, we ousted him of narco-terrorism.
No. We went there and executed a 5-year-old warrant of a narco-terrorist who was not the president of Venezuela at the time of the indictment. Yeah. And I'll go one step further. Hold on. Let's go one step further. If you say that it was unlawful for us to go in and remove Maduro, just answer one simple question for me. Why did the Biden administration put a $25 million bounty on him?
That's a good question. Remember, now it's not that the United States puts a $25 million bounty so that he ends up in, Bolivia. The $25 million bounty is for Maduro to end up in the custody of the United States, because we would be the person who would be giving said bounty to the person who brought him here. So every angle that sort of sits on this, the end result was always bringing Maduro to justice in the United States for his narco-terrorism act. So if Biden... Do you think it'll stop now that he's out? Don't. Hold on. Let's not shift, because it's important. I know that Joe Biden. Gio, hold on. Here's my point. It's a shift because, again, you started by saying that it was a regime change, so that's been debunked. Oh. We know that he wasn't the legitimate president of of Venezuela. I keep saying the United States of Venezuela. Yeah, leave it to the people to change. Right. No, and they could not, because, again, it was a military coup, so they couldn't change it. Now, that being said, the United States, one, Barack Obama calls him a national security threat. Two, Trump administration in March of 2020, they federally indict him. And then Joe Biden, as a countermeasure, puts a $25 million bond on him because an indictment exists for him to be extradited to the United States. So we have two different parties actually working in concert with each other to remove Maduro, who is the illegitimate president of Venezuela. And now people are saying that Trump did the thing that everybody said they wanted to do, and in some way Trump is wrong for doing it? Okay, here's my question then, because I'm kind of confused. So Maduro was taken out, right, because of the narco-terrorism and the you're saying because he was an illegitimate leader of Venezuela, not because, right?
But he was.
But you're saying that's a big reason.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that he was extradited to the United States. He was picked up by our military as a police action. By the way, federal agents went there and picked him up in concert with our military. So federal agents read him his rights, just like we would pick up a fugitive anywhere else in the country who did not have or did have extradition laws, as long as we did it in concert with the country that we went in, which, by the way, we find out now that the vice president was in talks with the United States for about a year. So she actually, from what we're learning now, she actually helped us execute the removal of Maduro.
Did she also help with the bombing that happened in Venezuela as well? I feel like that was kind of unnecessary as well. What was
to bomb the Russian guided missile system that was on the ground?
There were like 70 casualties, and some were Venezuelan citizens.
But you mean military guys?
They're still Venezuelan citizens.
Did they fire? Hold on. Who fired first?
I would imagine the home country.
Yeah, I would imagine so too.
If a foreign entity came into the United States, right? I would imagine you wouldn't think it's an invasion, but the way we did to Venezuela, you don't think that they would defend themselves?
I would put it this way. Someone said that the dumbest words ever used about Pearl Harbor were the two words sneak attack, because it lends itself to the obvious answer. Is there any other kind?
Oh, well, you have to explain that. Is there any other kind of sneak attack?
Yeah, is there any other kind? Like, you know what I'm saying? No one ever announces, hey, we're going to be there at 6:30. Or in this case, we're running a little late on our attack.
Okay, with that thinking, though, wouldn't you defend yourself from a sneak attack?
Oh, I'm not disputing that. I am not disputing that. But people making this argument about, well, there were casualties. Yeah, they're supposed to be.
No, they're supposed to be casualties?
Maybe you're missing you must have missed my earlier monologue.
Well, you said,
yeah. It's okay, Gio. No, it's all right. No, I'm totally kidding. Listen, here's my point, dude. That's supposed to happen. What people are looking at is like, wow, there were casualties. I'm like, and? Because people are just like, what? People died. I'm just going, and? Were they military folks? Were they people in the military? Because that's what we ask our military folks to do every day, to make the ultimate sacrifice. When they go into harm's way, when they are sent there by our politicians, they have been recruited. They actually volunteer, I should say that. They volunteer to do a job that they do recognize may put them in harm's way, and they may give their lives for whatever mission it is as they swear an oath to the Constitution of the United States. So when there's somebody else in Venezuela who, of course, is also probably taking that oath to defend his country, when we fly in there with helicopters with guns blazing, or at least guns apparent, and they start firing on them, they are already understood. Because remember, I wouldn't shoot at you if I wasn't expected to be shot at. So when they shoot at that military to try to take them down, they do understand that they indeed may lose their lives in doing so. That's just a part of the contract.
Yeah, I just feel it was unnecessary. I feel like it could have been solved diplomatically, and if not,
I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you this way, Gio, when you say that it could have been handled diplomatically. And it could have been handled diplomatically on our part. It could have been done diplomatically on Maduro's part. But the way that this went down, if you really think about it, and because, as you said earlier, it's much more nuanced than what people are talking about in the news, I would say consider the fact that Maduro was so out of whack and so knee-deep in his own mess that he was at the behest of two of our geopolitical adversaries, Russia and China. He was so indebted to them that he was going to have to give up the country to our geopolitical adversaries right in our backyard. And if they were able to hold him, in other words, if China says, you owe us $60 billion, Maduro, and you've got to pay up by allowing us to sit right here and pretty much own your country, he is, in essence, opening the door. This is why Barack Obama called him a geopolitical threat, right? Called him a national security threat. Because, in essence, he was selling his soul to Russia and China just so he can keep the country afloat because he had bled it dry. And in doing so, China and Russia come to bail him out, which means that they would be right there in the Western Hemisphere. And the Western Hemisphere, the United States for that matter, said, hell no, you are not giving free rein to Russia and China to be right there, in our southern region, just below. There's no way.
Israel. It would be like in Israel, but in South America.
But it would be exactly. It would be insane. So we had to act because at this point he was desperate. China was calling their marker. Hey, buddy, you better come up with my $60 billion or we run this place. And America's looking at this going, oh, no, you're not. So it must be done.
I feel like I personally believe it is a regime change because the person in power was not holding the same beliefs that the United States politicians held. So they went in and took him out so that the vice president, who was apparently in cahoots, could abide to their change in regime. But obviously that's an opinion, and we might not see eye to eye on that. I just fear that with the inclusion or with the involvement of the United States military, it's just going to create honestly just terrorism because not everybody in Venezuela is going to see it the way we see it. It's just going to be another.
I don't want to sound just crazy, Gio, but that's what they said after we bombed Iran. That's what they said it would happen after
Afghanistan?
No. That's also what they said after Trump went after when he killed Soleimani. All of that was said. In fact, if you listen to my show yesterday, I ran an entire list of people that said things that were going to happen after Trump did them. Remember, when we built the Capitol, when we put the capital of Israel in Jerusalem, they said that it would be unrest. We didn't get any. So, I mean, I know you believe it. I give you your props. I was like, hey, you believe it. That's fine. I'm not, countering your belief system, as it were. But it's got to hold water when we see the results of said belief, if you get my meaning.
Jerusalem was bombed by Iran. And, I mean, we had the whole war. I'm not saying solely Trump is the purpose for, like, terroristic
yeah, exactly.
To exist. The government's been doing this for a while.
Yes, that much, again.
You would think that no new war president wouldn't be bombing Venezuela.
It's not a war. It's a police action. That's all there was. I got to go, Gio.
Not a war yet.
I got to go, Gio.
Right,
God bless you, man. Let me take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. Mark Christopher is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. Plenty of news, plenty of views. I'm actually checking out the vehicle here. Looks like somebody's got a beat on the same pilot at another protest. And I think we're getting a beat on who the person is. Andy No. Famous Antifa reporter Andy No has an interesting, looks like he's got her. Looks like he has figured out in another protest. Let's see if we can actually post it on here. It looks like Andy No, and Andy No is probably one of the preeminent investigators of these protests against law enforcement. So we'll get some more feed on this and get that information to you. I will say this before I take any phone calls, and thank you for holding if you got it. And I know that was a long one with Gio. He doesn't call often, so that's the reason why I took that call for as long as I did. This is something I wanted to say just because that you can never, ever schedule a program on radio anymore. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to miss the days after this administration. It was, I'm telling you, it was a nice holiday to not talk about politics, but I felt it. It wasn't going to take 7 days, and we were going to be right back at it where the news cycle was going nuts. Here we are. It is astonishing every time. Okay, I finally got a picture of this. Let me see if I can blow up the photograph so I can get a good look at it. Yeah. If this is indeed the picture that I'm looking at of the individual, we're going to find out, yes, that she is, from what we gathered so far, reports are saying, at least the people who are on the ground, saying that this was a woman between the ages of 32 and 37 years old. She is a constant person and, let's say, protester. I'll use that term loosely. In Minneapolis at many of these events. Andy No found, he's got a name. Okay, I don't want to say the person's name on the air, but it appears that we have a name. I will be looking into it. In fact, my wife is on the line. Sweetheart, I'll text you the name and see if you could do some research on it. We'll get to that in a bit. And again, like I said, I trust Andy No's reporting. He is not. So that was those are the events there. I just realized that there's some cursing, and now I don't want to get that on the air. So let's get to a break. I'll see what else we can grab, and then we'll get to your phone calls on the other side. Let's get back to Mark Christopher. He's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hello, sir.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, it's pretty much been confirmed when that information comes out. So they're going to be expressing that. It's a young woman. She's definitely in her mid-30s, if not early 30s. But everyone is in. They're saying here that she's 37 years old. She looks younger than that. But I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you. Like I said, call me cruel. I'm not trying to be. This is one of those things where, I heard what people said on January 6th. Here we are, January 7th, 5 years later. And I look at the events in here, and I'm just, I'm going to give the same grace that's given. It's unfortunate, I'm just going to give them the same grace they gave Ashley Babbitt. And in some cases, they refused to even mention her name. There were many people who were willing to lie and say, Brian Sicknick was killed by being hit on the head with a fire extinguisher. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, they all said that. Man died of a stroke a day later. Wasn't even related to January 6th. They told all those lies, but wouldn't even mention Ashley Babbitt. Just recently, wouldn't even let the woman put a wreath on the Capitol steps in memoriam. So I'm going to give them the same grace. That's just the way I'm looking at it. Let's go to Ryan in Coventry. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, Reese, what's going on?
What's up, buddy?
I just wanted to, I just want to put the blame where it really should be. Like people like John Larson who call everybody Gestapos.
That's right.
Stir up all this nonsense all the time. The haters are real crazy on the show the past couple of days, so I guess I wanted to speak directly to them. It's things like the Trust Act that we have here in Connecticut that really cause all these things. If you want ICE to just pick up the criminals from our prisons and everything like that, that's possible. Our politicians are the ones that are creating this, and everybody's just falling for it. And unfortunately, it resulted in a death of a young woman today, and that's very tragic in that sense. But
I'll take this into consideration, Ryan. I mean, from what we found out from one of the NGOs right here in Connecticut, New Haven to be specific, these guys went out to Hamden police and protested outside of the police station because the police station didn't alert them that ICE was in the neighborhood to pick up illegals at the Optimo car wash, which now lets us know that the reason why protesters are showing up when ICE shows up in what can only be considered a clandestine operation is now being tipped off to people by the cops.
Yeah, absolutely. And our politicians, they have a real responsibility to stand up during these times and show true leadership. And obviously, here in Connecticut, they're very on it. And I just like to see, Ben Proto come out and, be a little forceful on these things. It's right in front of our eyes. You got to call it for what it is. And I know you do your part every day out here. And, everyone likes to give a very biased opinion. And then you kind of give them a little pushback, and all of a sudden it's, whoa, what's going on,
Yeah, it's the same deal. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you, buddy. Drive safely out there. You got it.
All right.
Okay, let me go to my betrothed. How are we doing, sweetheart?
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm good. You sound weirder on the phone. I like it when you're right in front of me. Everybody, Roseanne is on the line. What's going on, sweetie? I'm assuming you're calling because of the conversation I was having with Gio or something else.
Oh, my God. Yes, Gio. I understand he's a long-time listener, caller. However, I need to set a few things straight. First of all, regime change requires removal of the entire government. That did not occur. We removed a president who was illegitimately holding a seat of which he was voted out. Okay? That's not a regime change. Also, $25 million bounty put on his head by the previous administration because he was a narco-terrorist. 2020, they complained that Trump didn't do enough to take Maduro out. So now he does what you complained he couldn't do. He did it, and now you're whining. Secondly, I want to talk about this oil that everybody's whining about. We stole their oil. No, we did not. I need everybody to open a history book, go back to 1914, and take a look at who was the very first oil company or the first people to go down and explore for the potential of oil in Venezuela. Who was it? It was the United States. We had a company down there in 1914. 1912. 1914, that company was bought by what is now called Shell Oil Company, which is a Dutch company. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to 1928. 1928, we have the largest presence of oil drilling companies in Venezuela. We were granted these permissions by the Venezuelan government. Hugo Chavez took back everything, kicked the Americans out at gunpoint, and completely stole equipment, stole oil, stole our rights. I mean, completely cut America off because his whole premise was, we're going to be communists now, we take care of our own. I'd also like to point out that prior to Hugo Chavez, those oil wells were pulling out 3 million gallons of oil per day. Today, 25 years under communist reign, they are under 1 million gallons a day because nobody's investing and those idiots don't know how to drill oil. So those are two things. The oil that we are currently confiscating belongs to the United States. Oh, did I mention that a court, like an international court, ordered Venezuela to pay the American government and oil companies millions of dollars in lost revenue? Nobody's talking about that. So here you people are complaining and griping, oh, regime change, oh, we're stealing oil, oh, we just discovered oil, that's why we want Venezuela. Shut up. You need to understand history, and if you don't, stop coming to the table acting like you know what you're talking about. You don't. Secondly, I want to talk about this shooting in Minnesota. If you watch the video I just sent you, I zoomed in specifically.
Yeah, I saw
the
it.
woman backs up her car and then guns it forward. In the video that I zoomed in on, her vehicle hits the officer. It hits his body before he opens fire. Anybody else who's ever served in any military, paramilitary understands that once contact is made and I'm being hit with a vehicle,
all bets are off.
Deadly weapon, it's not all bets are off. My life is now in danger. I preserve life, limb, or eyesight. To hell with you. You're the enemy.
Okay.
Also, some house cleaning. These boxes are getting out of control. It's insane. I really need you to do something about this.
Yes, I will remove the boxes. I will break them down and remove them for you, sweetheart.
And everything about this Renee, whatever chick, has been removed from social media. They're already. MSNBC has a great story up called Poor Renee.
Oh, do they? Okay, I will look it up. So they've already identified her.
Yes, I mean it's all over the interweb.
All right, so as long as already there, they're referring to her as, and at least in this particular post, they're referring to her as Renee Nicole Good, who has been identified in the ICE shooting, and her Instagram page has been not scrubbed, but it has been made private, and I think what's being done is what's sort of a counter recon sort of effort to scrub anything that she may have had online for the purposes that we may find something, let's just say, not very favorable coming out of her social media post, which is they know it's there. So I think people are scrambling to get rid of her past immediately.
Yeah, she was something else.
Yeah.
This woman. I did get to watch one video of her in a Target where she's very angry that the Pride section has been taken down.
Okay. So
I don't know if she's a member of the community or she's just one of those awfuls.
Yes, I think that she is. She's clearly an activist for the sake of, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
she has nothing, like no real principle. She just goes where the money takes her.
If that's the case, but she seems like a professional rabble rouser. I think Timothy said to me, he said, so she's a professional rabble rouser. I was like, it appears so. Or at least was.
Well, I just need everybody to open up a history book and go to Grok, go to Google, just Venezuela, oil, America. When were we there? I mean, we were literally this. We're not stealing anything. We didn't do a regime change. We are legally entitled to these oil fields because they belong to us. They're using our equipment. We've not stolen anything. And wouldn't it be cool if Venezuela became the 52nd state right after Greenland?
Goodbye, sweetheart. God bless you.
Bye.
I love you too. Teresa is calling from Hartford. How are you, Teresa?
Hey, Teresa, or Reese, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm so glad Roseanne just called because she's awesome. She's the best. You don't ever do anything to mess that up, Reese.
I promise. No divorce for me.
Okay. I'll try to be quick. Just two points I wanted to say to you was I watch a lot of like old or not old but current like cop shows, shows. And I'm always saying to my husband, I'm like, I can't get over the patience of these cops, how much they endure and go through, and they just really need to be. I know that part of it might be because all eyes are on them, but that's what they wanted, right?
Yeah.
They wanted people to see what was going on and how unfair the police were and unjust. And I'm not saying they were always just and perfect, but Anyway, my point to that was just saying, like, if you go and you watch, I was watching one the other day. I think they're now caught up to like 2023. And these guys go through so much to not like, you know, touch another person, to not have to take them, trying to like talk them down and trying to be reasonable. So, you know, oftentimes I think that they get away with so much.
There's an interesting point that you're making here, and I'll let you make the second one that you want to make as well. But I think the point that you're making here is, imagine you are being sort of breathed on, like breathed down on, screamed, holler, and everything. And in that exchange where you know that the person who is shouting at you or coming after you would want nothing more than to harm you in some way. And you've got to be the poor person there with a weapon that has to be restrained. And in your mind, you've got to do two things at once. One, you have to protect your person. And second, you have to make sure that you don't overreact where you affect the life of the person who may be threatening you.
Correct.
All of that burden is on you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I totally agree. And I pray for our police officers and people who try to enforce the law and protect our country every night, because they really need it.
What was the other thing?
My other thing was Gio. Listen, I love that he calls in. I don't really agree with what he has to say, but I will say this. I don't know how old he is, but I think I can tell by his voice that he's young.
Yes.
And I love the fact that he at least calls up. He may call with his opinions, but he is listening to what you're saying to him.
Yes.
And I feel like people his age nowadays aren't that good about like listening to those things. And I'm glad that he is, and he's taking it in. And I just think he's a great thing.
Teresa, what's going on with Gio, which I find fascinating about him is, and I think he recognizes that I recognize it in him. He has a visceral reaction to the events from his scope. Right? Because he is looking at the world from, in essence, his point of view, that this doesn't seem right, and this is why I'm asking. And he finds this show as a vehicle to express that, because he knows he's not going to be shouted down and told, oh, you're crazy, you're insane. That there's a reasonable conversation that says, okay, I get that you see this way. Now let me dissect why you feel that way and sort of counter it with this, that, and the third, or in essence find some agreement with the point of view. And I think that dialogue makes it better for him. And I also believe that that's the reason why he calls back and he does listen.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I hope he keeps calling and he listens with an open mind and maybe takes it in one day.
You got it.
Anyway, thank you so much. Take care, you guys.
Thank you. You too. And that's the reason why I give Gio so much time. He doesn't call all the time, and when he does, I know he's really he's not coming in to throw bombs or anything like that. He has a genuine curiosity about my opinion on things. Even if he disagrees, when he knows, like, oh, Reese is probably going to have a different view. But he really does care about the opinion in that way. Brian, should I talk to you now, or should I go in because I got about 2 minutes? What should I do? Should I put you on hold?
No, I'll talk now. I've got a very short thing.
You got it. Go ahead.
Okay, you recommended the movie The Downfall of Minneapolis.
Fall of Minneapolis. Yes, sir.
Fall of Minneapolis. That's the one. I wanted to point out that movie is nonsense. And
have you seen it?
I have not seen it. I have read the claims in it, and I read the detailed analysis by a journalist named Bradley Balco.
Okay.
That was published about a year ago.
I would rather you do this. Right? And the only thing, it's like my ex-girlfriend who taught me this when I was a young little hip-hopper. I used to hate everything, and she looked me right in the face and she says, you have what we call contempt prior to investigation. So I understand that someone wrote a review about the movie, but what I would ask you to do is, hold on, what I would ask you to do is, the movie is free on YouTube. It costs you nothing but your time. Go watch it so you know what it is that I want you to watch, and I will even tell you what you should watch. I want you to watch the section of the movie that talks about the police handbook and the chief of police who on the stand lied about the book, and watch that part of the video. This is irrefutably and undisputed that what that portion of the movie shows you is that Derek Chauvin was lied upon on the stand, and his boss should be brought up on perjury charges.
Okay. So I will point you to the 3-part column by Radley Balco, who's a journalist.
I know who he is. I've already seen it. I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay. I knew you were going to bring it up anyway. Thank you, boss. Okay. Let me take a break. Let's go to Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I'm gathering so much of this information as we go into the final hour of the program, and more of the information that I'm gathering here before we get to weather and traffic again. So now Reddit is reporting that people, of course, are going there talking about how now they are going to, I guess for lack of a better word, take up arms against ICE officers. You know, I'm looking at this mayor who everybody's playing his video and his audio telling ICE to get the F out of the town. Tim Walz is playing, please don't tell them, don't do what they're expecting them to do. But never once has anybody told people to stop impeding ICE. And there's a reason for that, just so you know. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here's Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Back to the phones we get Ralphie Boy. How are you, sir?
Good, Reese. A couple things. First of all, I wasn't too sure about how swift your wife was marrying you, but she proved she's a pretty smart lady.
Yeah, man. She's, I never underestimate her, but the thing I will tell her, with the exception of Lori, who's a scallywag in the chat room, she is so well researched. She is so, all you have to do is give her a project or something she's interested in. She will go back, especially if it involves history. She is on it like a hornet. She will get to the bottom of it, like literally to day one. It's incredible how she does.
The big thing is she told the truth. There was no regime change.
Right.
The regime change happened when Maduro made the other guy leave the country because he's starting to kill him, the guy who won the election.
Right.
That was regime. Right. So tell your little friend who called and talking about regime change to look at the facts and truth. And that's one thing, Reese, that I have observing all these far-left nutcases.
Yeah.
I told you before, there's two things that really, really scares the hell out of them.
Yeah.
One is black people who can think for themselves. The second is facts and truth. Facts and truth, they go bananas. When someone brings up facts and truth, they just can't handle it.
Yeah.
And just a little, what happened today, happened to be watching TV.
Yeah.
The mayor of Minneapolis said the woman who was shot was going backwards. Now I find out she was going backwards so she could go forwards faster. She gunned it.
It's incredible because if you watch the initial angle that everyone saw, people are making this argument. It's like, she was just trying to get away. And then Channel 5, the local Channel 5 network, has the other angle on the opposite side of the vehicle. And then you see the officer get hit and you're going, oh. And that's the video they don't want getting out there. And again, look, I think Tim Walz and this guy Frey, whatever his name is, the mayor,
right.
They've got a lot of problems right now because someone is going to get in their ear and say, you better tell the residents to stop impeding ICE. Tim Walz is going to bring in the National Guard because he knows he can't trust his constituents. He knows they're going to burn it to the ground.
Well, the big thing, too, as far as what all ICE is doing is enforcing federal law. That's all they're doing. They're not just going after people randomly. They have warrants for these people.
Well,
these people have committed crimes, and they have been, a lot of them have been ordered out of the country, and they never left.
Yeah.
So the people in Minnesota, especially the governor, he's about as stupid as Murphy, is that, hey, These people legally have been given their hearing, and now they've got to go, but they're not going, and you're standing up for them. So what you're telling the American people, break the laws, because there are certain laws that you can break that we're just going to turn our backs on it.
Yeah, 100% right. Thank you, boss. I appreciate you.
Have a good night.
You got it. I'll tell you the dumbest thing that's happening right now, playing this guy, Jacob Frey. Playing him telling ICE to get the blank out of the city. Dumbest thing ever for the news media. I'm seeing it right now. I'm watching it on NBC Connecticut. Dumbest thing. Because, again, what people don't understand, elected officials, especially on the Democrat Party, that to these idiots, these rabble-rousers, is license. Oh, our elected officials also hate ICE? They're telling ICE to get the F out of the city? They sound like us. And they're trying to pander to those people. And it is only emboldening them, saying that our elected officials are saying, yeah, remember, and the only reason why I'm saying this, think about it, folks. What do they say about Donald Trump every time? Right? Because of Donald Trump, people are behaving more racist. He gives them license to act in the way that they act, to act like white supremacists, right? To act like tyrants. They don't think anything can touch them. They're not politically correct. They say whatever they want. They use this word. They use that word. Right? Donald Trump gave them license. Well, what do you think Tim Walz does then? What do you think Jacob Frey does to his constituents, the people who follow him? Aren't they giving those folks license? So when you say, ICE, get the F out of the city, what do you think you're emboldening those idiots to do? No offense. Look, do you think Nicole was out there trying to reason with police? I don't think so. She went there to blockade them. She went there to block them. That's the reason why her car was perpendicular to the vehicle that ICE was in. When they told her to get out of the car, what did she do? She fled. So what was she there for? Political activist. Right? What was Ashley Babbitt doing in the Capitol? Climbing through the window. Right? She didn't belong there. Well, neither did Nicole. And like I said, I'll give you the same grace you gave Ashley. Want me to care? Call up and just say, yeah, you know what? You're right. I did not give Ashley Babbitt the respect that she was due and say prayers for her family. You first. White Mike is on the line. What's going on, sir?
Man, well, unfortunately, I was stuck in dental hell today, carrying an incompetent rookie Indian dentist on my back, doing illegal dentistry I'm not supposed to do, so make some money. So I didn't hear what's going on. Tell me the story of this chick. What happened?
Okay, so a young woman by the name of Nicole Good is in southern Minneapolis, and she...
What did Nicole look like?
Nicole is a white woman, age 37, blonde.
How fat was she?
No. She doesn't appear to be overweight.
Yeah, well, that's rare.
So she, according to the video that we have, she had her vehicle blocking the road against ICE agents who were traveling down the road. Two ICE agents. Yeah, there you go.
Then I hope she became a road pizza. And I hope that's pushed out.
Well, that's exactly what happened, but only after she was asked to get out of the vehicle, to which she backed up and then gunned it towards one of the officers who shot into the windshield, killing her.
I hope her death was painful.
Why would you have? You don't have to say that, you know.
Well, yeah, I'm not. I keep it real. So anyway, look, I actually called for a different topic.
Okay, what do you got?
Go in a different direction. I work in dentistry. I'm going to say it that way, and I want to inform you guys, your listeners, of something they probably don't know.
Okay.
Your dentist probably does not own his practice.
I've heard this before.
Yep. There is what's called a dental services organization called Heartland Dental, which is based out of Effingham, Illinois. Mm-hmm. That is the largest DSO in the world and has been growing like kudzu since the 90s.
Okay.
They are quietly taking over every dental practice they can.
Why is that?
They do not have to change the name of the practice to represent that they are owned by Heartland Dental.
It's a weird thing because I also hear that this is happening with eye care as well.
Veterinarians are huge too. Veterinary specialty is being taken over by VCA. Oh. But what I'm telling you is it's eliminating any chance of competition, and it has the appearance of competition because I'll tell you, my little podunk area, we have 7 offices that are all owned by Heartland Dental, and ain't not one of them says Heartland Dental on it anywhere. They're not allowed.
We're talking like no legal document at all.
No, on the signage or on the paperwork, nothing. It just says Dr. Bob's Dental Hut or whatever. And it turns out that it is a corporate dental office, and they have the same prices as the 5 other corporate dental offices owned by the same company in your town, and you don't know about it at all because they don't have to tell you.
Wow. Now, so is there a buyout? Is there a buyout that actually happens in order for this to happen? Like, in other words, it starts at a private practice. If you are lucrative or considerable, then you become a part of Heartland.
So now let me tell you how it goes. Usually what it is, like back in the good old days, dentistry was like an apprentice kind of deal. Like you'd go to dental school, but if you knew you were going to go to dental school, you'd hang out at your local dentist's office during the summer, and you would apprentice, or you'd be a hygienist for him, or he'd teach you. And then when you got to school, you'd go work for him and learn how to be a dentist. And then eventually when he retired, he would sell you the practice for a good price because you were a local kid and you keep his practice alive.
Right.
Now what happens is these DSOs show up with a ton of private equity capital, and they outbid all these young dudes because the young dudes can't compete.
Fair, sure.
It's happening in veterinary medicine. My brother has a friend who's a veterinarian who owns a veterinary practice in a small rural Florida town. Veterinary Corporation of America showed up and offered him $14 million for his little practice.
Damn!
But said he would have to work for them for the next 5 years, and they were going to double the fees on every procedure across the board to pay for it. And he told them, my clients are all elderly rural people who love their animals. Right. I'm not going to do that. They took over my practice, this dental organization. And prices are going up, and cost care is going down, and everything's worse. So you need to ask your dentist when you make an appointment, are you a corporate-owned office? And if they are, bounce. And trust me, if your dentist shows up and he is fresh off a boat from India, run. If he's an American guy who's of Indian descent, you're okay. But if he's FOB from India, run, bro, because they have no ethics. And they're broke and they're desperate. They will screw you sideways.
So what, if I'm understanding this correctly, there's no signage, there's nothing in the documentation, you don't know that, so you have to ask right up front. What happens if they are evasive about that answer?
No, they have to tell you. They'll tell you yes.
Oh, they do? Oh, they do? Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
If they don't, there's not a secret, but they have to tell you. And if they don't tell you, then run. Or
now, did you just learn?
It's just a privately owned practice.
Did you just learn this about your practice?
Oh, no, I knew. We got acquired by this big-ass corporation. We were owned by a smaller corporation, and then we got acquired by the evil empire, and it's awful, dude.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Hold on. Does that – now, because in some ways, because I kind of know what this is like. I worked for a small logistics company that got bought out by huge logistics. We were like – we were Logistics Worldwide, and we got bought out by Choice Logistics. And they were a big corporate entity in a corner building, big, giant palatial place. And the two things that I noticed there immediately, the quality of the service that we provided sucked because we were so big. And second, I was getting the same corporate salary, but I was being reduced to like a receptionist kind of role, right? But I was getting the same pay, but just there was no advancement for me.
I had to do something called a DISC assessment, some corporate crap undoubtedly thought up by a 35-year-old fat cat lady in HR. Which asks you to these different personality traits, put them in which you were most dominant to least dominant.
Oh, I know that well. Yes, I know
You're not getting me with that Ricky Bobby corporate monster. So I just randomly put stuff everywhere.
Ricky Bobby.
So trust me, yeah. So in closing, if you, of course, don't go to the places that have names like Aspen or Coast or any of that. If it's name, it's not, don't go because that's corporate. But ask your dentist if they're corporate, if they're owned by the dentist, and if they're not, run. And if they're fresh off the boat from India, run.
All right. Thank you, man. I totally appreciate it. You got to talk to you later. Ricky Bobby, corporate entity. Says, The Quality Leering Center featured by has closed. Look at that. Good to hear. Craig just let us know in the chat room. Beckman says, can you ask Mike if I have pain in my molar tooth, does that mean I need a root canal? Okay, well, I'll get you and Mike on Facebook together. Carmela says, I think Tampon Tim is likely secretly relieved for this distraction from the fraud. Maybe, Carmela, in the sense, well, let me put it this way. Which would you rather have? The fraud thing hanging over your head, or the distraction of the possibility of an all-out riot in your town that you have to manage, that you failed to manage in 2020 to the point where the police department had to be told to retreat while the rioters took it? Like that, I would, because Tim Walz has absolutely no leadership skills, which we know. You have 2020 where the police department is completely burned down and taken over to where the police department has to retreat. By the way, which is why you should see the fall of Minneapolis, because that is in the documentary. It lays out. They talked to the police officers who had to give up the building to the rioters. Absolutely unheard of. Then watching this nightmare that's happening now where police departments are roaming through the streets and the rioters are throwing projectiles at the police. They have nothing to do with the shooting, and that's happening. All right? But then during COVID, you had Tim Walz instructing his police department to walk through neighborhoods and shoot paintballs at people for them to get into their house, which we have video of. And we have newsrooms in Minneapolis reporting that. The Tim Walz had police departments walking through the neighborhoods telling them to get in the house, and when they did not, they were firing on them. So I would say if I'm Tim Walz, I would probably want to deal with just the fraud. I don't want to deal with my city burning down for a second time. In 5 years? No. That would be, boy, that would be a nightmare. That one I don't. We'll see if we get some more updates on this story and much, much more. And we'll let you know about them when we get back. Let's get to Mark Christopher, who's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
I love the fact that it is quite natural for people not to have the instincts that you should have in incidents like this. I pay very, very close attention to these things. And I wait. You don't have to wait long. Something always reveals itself. Like this. A woman who was with the caravan of protesters in Minneapolis describes the role Nicole Good had that led to her death.
They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah. Okay. That was her goal.
And that's why she's dead. She was there with a caravan of people to deter ICE agents. That was definitely her role. From the woman just joining us, we'll play it again.
They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do.
She was doing her job as a protester, set out to impede the work of ICE agents.
And so they wanted to get her the hell out of there.
ICE wanted to get her out of there. Get out of the car so she can stop impeding. She was doing the thing that she was set out to do.
Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely, yeah. Okay. That was her goal. They clearly...
That's her goal. So... Like I said, it only takes a minute. It only takes a minute. No. Jacob Frey says, no, she was not. She wasn't. She was just an innocent bystander. No. Don't believe them. No. Believe the guy that curses and tells people to get the F out of his town. Again, it's too easy. It's like debating toddlers. We'll come back. We'll wrap this puppy up. Let's get you home. Mark Christopher. He's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
White Mike says to John Beckman, see a dentist. You should see a dentist. Without a doubt. I guess tomorrow I'm just going to have to use anything that I didn't get to use today because, of course, we still got the issue with Connecticut being sued by the federal government for the voter rolls. We got to get to the bottom of that. Maybe I'll give Linda a call, see if she'll be on the program tomorrow to talk about that, depending on what the weather looks like. Yeah, it's funny. We do a weather report every hour on the 8th, and I didn't even hear it because I was doing a whole bunch of other nonsense. Trying to get more information to you guys on the events as they took place. Tomorrow's show, in fact, I might save it for Friday. But in the event that I don't, just stay tuned for it. So Donald Trump put out a post today that is so wild because Roseanne and I were talking about this last year when we saw a story about it. And I don't forget how the story came to me. I don't know if someone sent it to me, forwarded it to me, but I know I was online watching it. And the story was about how these corporate companies were buying up a crap load of real estate. And Trump put out a tweet today, or a Truth Social post today, putting an end to that. Because it's also it's a part of the affordability crisis that's going on. And these are large corporations. And they're not like, this is far worse than like some rinky-dink small group of guys doing house flips. No, these are major corporations. And they are buying thousands of homes. And they are in regions like Mecklenburg, the Mecklenburg County of North Carolina. I know they're here in Connecticut, too. They're in Georgia. There are so many of them. And we're talking about thousands and thousands of these homes. So tonight, I'm going to try to find the news report that talks about it. And then, of course, talk about what Donald Trump's doing. Because that's happening. And now, like I said, it's happening here in Connecticut. And it is happening in these subdivisions. Those are the homes that these folks are buying. And you are going through that one organization to do it. How about putting an end to allowing China to buy land in his country? That would be helpful. Yes, of course. Of course. But it is it's a big story, and it was a big thing that Trump posted today on Truth Social. He says he's going to tell some more details about it when he speaks, I think, in Davos. Did he say he was going to? I have to find my Truth Social. Here it is. I have a feeling he said that it was going to be in Truth Social. He says, let me see. I'm trying to find his exact post here, but he just put it in there. Oh, he actually posted the shooting on his Truth Social as well. Here it is. This is the post. I'll read it. He says, for a very long time, buying and owning a home was considered the pinnacle of the American dream. It was the reward for working hard and doing the right thing. But now, because of the record high inflation caused by Joe Biden and the Democrats in Congress, that American dream is increasingly out of reach for far too many people, especially younger Americans. It is for that reason and much more that I am immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes. And I will be calling on Congress to codify it. People live in homes, not corporations. I will discuss this topic, including further housing and affordability proposals and more at my speech in Davos in 2 weeks. So, yeah, and there's this story. I wish he'd posted the companion story in this news report talking about that these homes were, being purchased by corporate entities, making the prices skyrocket. And, so, yeah, it says how to reduce. This is somebody who posted on there. Ash Coleman, I guess, is the person who posted this, and I've heard this before. How to reduce housing costs. Ban BlackRock and other large corporations from scooping up housing in mass and raising prices. Ban non-U.S. citizens from owning residential housing or farmland in the USA. To, what's his name? John Beckman's point, pointing out China. Stop states from raising property taxes every year. That one may be a difficult one. That one may be a little tough. Yeah, Michael A. says BlackRock is one of them, of course. What is this? I heard California is buying the Palisades to build new low-income housing. Jason, is an interesting story. Look up, what's his name? Pollock? I think his name is Jason Pollock of Breitbart. And I could be wrong. Maybe it's Jacob Pollock. But I'm sure, I know his last name is Pollock. I think it's Jacob Pollock. He was on Fox News talking about exactly that, about that there's a law in California that says that if there is a fire in that region, that an archaeologist must be present before the fire department can put out fires. He was on one of the programs talking about that, on one of the Fox programs talking about that today. So, I don't know who this person is. Now I'm going to have to reach out to someone. This is Sarah with Friends for Peace. We're gathering views on Israel today and would love to hear yours. Okay. Canada has a ban on non-Canadians buying residential property. Oh, wow. Joel Pollock, thank you, John Beckman. Joel Pollock, that's his name. I knew it was Jay something. You're absolutely right. But, yeah, go check him out. He talks about that as well. Carmela says, in talking about the fall of Minneapolis, she says the scene where the police were finally leaving the police station in that movie, Fall of Minneapolis, was intense. It is. It is. It was very intense. Let's go to Stevie V. How are you, sir?
Good, Reese. I think we only have about 8,000 archaeologists in the field.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I mean, and, a lot of them are not, like, sitting around California as far as I know. Maybe they are, but...
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of people don't really see the big picture of what's going on and how other countries are trying to undermine us, through drugs, through the oil, through changing currency.
Right.
What happened in Venezuela did not happen overnight. It wasn't a Jimmy Carter, let's send in a couple of helicopters and see what happens type thing.
Right.
What's in the works has been in the works for a long time. And the strategy that's going on, what we're hearing is just like the surface, and they're only releasing what they want people to know.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot of things that are people going to be really surprised. And, the free world, the people that are, kind of saying, I should be doing this, shouldn't be doing that. Well, what's going on right now is going to help them too. I sent you a text on that before, a tweet on it before, between Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, and probably Pakistan. These are the people that we really got to, hedge against and do things. And obviously seeing how we kind of slapped Russia when they were escorting the tanker there today.
Yeah, I saw that. Do you know what's crazy about that story? I'll tell you, the only part of that headline that caught my eye, do you know they were chasing them down for a week? Did you know that?
I I'll be honest with you, I was working. I just seen that.
The headline said it was a week-long chase to commandeer that tanker. I'm like, really, for a week? Like, wow. So, yeah, it's amazing.
I know Russia had a submarine. I don't know if they have what else they have for warships or whatever, but I think it's pretty funny that they're trying to, be a bravado, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, we'll take it from here, guys.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Indeed, sir.
You want to hear a quick joke?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Did you hear about the 45-cent concert that they're going to have?
I'm sorry. Which one?
Concert's only going to be 45 cents.
Oh, which concert's going to be 45 cents?
Well, you're going to have 50 in Nickelback.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
That would get me kicked out of my house, at least for an hour. By the way, I meant to tell you a joke yesterday, Roland. You probably like this one. Did I tell you this already? Are you on the phone? Okay. Well, I'll tell the joke anyway. What do Nicolas Maduro and P. Diddy have in common? They both had the U.S. government steal their oil. I think that's funny. I still think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. Hey, who's this?
It's Rob from Middletown.
What can I do for you, Rob?
Yesterday I tuned in at about almost the 3 o'clock hour to listen to you Tool in the stew telling you you're laughing at the January 6th.
Oh, because I was laughing at the people who are I was mocking the people who were talking about the woman, MAGA granny. That's
the one. Now, the day before, I listened to you Tool Lebo in the same way. Now, I listened to Todd before you came, and I used to hear you come on Todd's show. So I assumed you guys were boys. Can you elaborate a little more on that situation?
I'll put it to you this way. I don't like petty.
I hear you.
And Lebo was, in a conversation we were having the day before, he was incredibly petty to my wife about a discussion that he and I was having. And that, to me, it wasn't like he didn't insult her or anything, but he was petty in the sense of, here it is, he and I having a discussion. We're clearly yelling at each other like men do. No, it wasn't a touchdown. No, you're lying. He was absolutely a pass interference. Guys do that. But then to take that conversation and then make a sort of a quip about a conversation he was like, and when your wife said, I'm like, dude, have the conversation with me. You don't even need to go there. It was petty. So I'm just like, okay. So when he called here, and that's the biggest problem that I have with most of these so-called wizards of smart, is that they keep telling me that they know everything, and then when you completely shut them down with stuff that it's clear that they don't know, right? He came out and said, Donald Trump said that he went after Maduro because of fentanyl, which that was emphatically untrue because there was a warrant for Maduro in 2020. So he didn't go after him for a warrant that they drafted yesterday. It was a warrant from 2020. He knew that, but of course, he pretended that didn't exist. And the arrogance that came off of his, out of his mouth was actually being called. It's just like, you cannot know everything if you know nothing.
I hear you, bro. And it's the arrogance that bothers me with him. He just thinks he's so much more.
But it's off. No, I get people have been telling me that for the longest, that his arrogance is off-putting, and I'm just like, okay, I give him a shot. But then when you do it to me, the guy who's kind of giving you that sort of leeway, it's just like, okay, look, I'm just going to deal with you. And then when I ask him the question, okay, quote Donald Trump when he said that he was going after Maduro for fentanyl. He can't because he goes, I don't know what it was. It's like he said it so many times. I'm like, that's not a defense. You are making a case without evidence. How am I supposed to have a debate with you?
You're awesome, man. Keep doing you, brother.
I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, man. You have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, guys. I'm just saying, stop telling me that you know everything, and then when I ask you a question, you tell me, well, I can't know everything. It's like the guy who called yesterday. I know everything that happened on January 6th. And then when I ask you a pertinent question about it, your answer is, it happened 5 years ago. But wait a minute, I thought you knew everything. You can't remember everything, so you've committed only the stuff that's important to you to memory. I committed everything, even the stuff I don't like. I didn't like the fact that people were breaking windows. Of course, I hated it. But when I look at the people breaking windows, I have to say, how do I reconcile that? Do I like broken windows on the Capitol? No, but I pay for that. But do I like people shooting a man in cold blood? A former police officer who's guarding a piece of property when a bunch of rabble-rousers are running through the street. A piece of property that had nothing to do with the death of George Floyd or the death of Michael Brown. No, I can't stand for that. So breaking a window versus taking people's lives and burning down their businesses, no. There's no comparison. There's no apples to apples here. There isn't. And I can boldly say that. You can look at me and just go, that seems crazy, really? That's a contradiction. And no, it isn't. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Not at all. And I refuse your premise. That's another thing. I don't have to accept your premise. You're not going to accept mine. Why should I anyway adhere to your premise? You're not the moral authority here. I won't be ceding that ground. Don't have to. You won't. And never, ever expect anybody to do for you what you are not willing to do for them. That's the way I look at it. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night and pleasant tomorrow. By the way, Craig in a car, Running Down a Dream used to be the outro music for this very show. So I love Tom Petty, too. Let's get to Mark Christopher. He's getting you home. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Good night, sir.